April 1945, outside Munich, a prisoner of war camp. The American mess sergeant couldn't make sense of what he was seeing. He had just finished serving lunch to 200 German prisoners. Regulation rations, bread, soup, canned meat. Decent food, arguably better than what most Germans had access to at the time. Yet the prisoners sat untouched in front of their trays, not taking a single bite. The sergeant approached the nearest prisoner. "Is something wrong with the food?" The German looked up, not with anger, but with clear distaste. "This is not food fit for us," he replied in halting English. "We are soldiers of Germany. We cannot eat this." The sergeant was taken aback. "You're turning down the meal?" "Yes. This food is not good enough for us." The sergeant brought the matter to his commanding officer, who escalated it further up the chain. By the following morning, it had landed on Patton's desk. 200 German POWs were declining American food, claiming it didn't meet their standards. This is what Patton did about it. Before we go on, hit subscribe. We share World War II stories that capture what happened when pride collided with reality. The mess sergeant's name was Staff Sergeant Michael O'Brien, Boston-born, 32 years old. He had been managing POW camp kitchens for 6 months and had witnessed a wide range of reactions from prisoners. Some were deeply grateful for every meal. Some wept at the sight of real bread. Some ate so rapidly they made themselves ill. But he had never once seen prisoners push food away, especially not food of this quality. The rations he'd served that day were standard American military issue: white bread, vegetable soup with real chunks of meat, canned beef, coffee, and sugar. In April 1945, that kind of meal was something most German civilians could only dream of. The country was on the brink of collapse, cities in ruins, supply lines shattered, people starving. And yet these 200 prisoners, all from the same outfit, the 116th Panzer Division, sat there as if they'd been handed scraps. O'Brien walked along the line, trying to make sense of it. "Has the food gone bad? Did we prepare it wrong?" A German corporal who spoke better English than the rest answered for the group. "The food is not spoiled. It is simply unacceptable. We are Wehrmacht soldiers. We hold ourselves to a higher standard." O'Brien could barely believe what he was hearing. "Standards? You're prisoners. You lost the war. This is good food." The corporal's expression remained unmoved. "We would prefer German rations, or nothing at all." O'Brien brought the issue to Lieutenant James Parker, the camp's executive officer, 26 years old, from Chicago. Parker came to the mess hall, took one look at 200 full trays and 200 prisoners sitting with their arms folded, and tried to reason with them. "Gentlemen, these rations are provided in accordance with the Geneva Convention. This is proper food, and you need to eat." The corporal rose to speak on behalf of the group. "Lieutenant, we acknowledge you are following the conventions, but we are unable to accept American food. It is not what German soldiers are given. We request German military rations, or we will not eat." Parker surveyed the hall, the untouched food, the unyielding posture of the men. "Let me be clear. You're refusing to eat not because the food is poor, but because it isn't German. That is correct. You do understand that you're prisoners. You don't have the standing to make requests." The corporal remained composed. "We are not making demands, Lieutenant. We are simply exercising our choice not to consume food that falls below our standards." Parker left the room and went straight to the camp commander, Colonel Robert Hayes, 41 years old, from Philadelphia, a career military man. Hayes heard the report, walked to the mess hall, and saw it for himself. 200 Germans seated, arms crossed, not eating, waiting. He addressed them head-on. "I've been told you're turning down this food. I want to understand your reasoning." The corporal stood once more. "Colonel, with respect, this food is not appropriate for German soldiers. We upheld certain standards throughout the war, and we intend to uphold them now." Hayes was silent for a moment. "You upheld standards while you were losing the war? We fought with honor, sir. And now you're going hungry out of pride over American food. We would simply prefer German military rations, as that is what befits German soldiers." Hayes looked at the wasted food and the wall of stubbornness in front of him, then reached a decision. "Very well. You don't want American food. Fine. Sergeant O'Brien, clear every tray. This unit has declined our rations. We'll honor that decision." The Germans exchanged uncertain glances. The corporal spoke again. "Sir, we are merely requesting German military rations as a substitute." Hayes turned to face him. We don't carry German rations here. We have American rations. You've turned those down, so you receive nothing. Dismissed. The guards emptied the hall. The 200 prisoners were sent back to their barracks, still without food. O'Brien turned to Hayes. Sir, how long do we hold the rations? Until they accept what we're serving, or until you receive different orders? That afternoon, Hayes drafted a detailed report of the incident and sent it up the chain of command. It made its way through division and corps headquarters, and by the next morning it was sitting on Patton's desk at 3rd Army HQ. Patton read it over breakfast, his expression hardening with every paragraph. His aide stood nearby, waiting. Patton set the report down. 200 Germans refusing American food because they believe it's beneath them. Yes, sir. The camp commander has suspended their rations and is awaiting direction. Patton sat quietly for a moment, then picked up his pen and wrote directly on the report. Maintain current status. No food until they accept what is offered. I will visit the camp personally in 72 hours. If they have not eaten by then, I will address them myself. GSP. He passed it back to his aide. Get that out immediately. Sir, 72 hours is 3 days. The Geneva Convention requires that we make food available. We're doing that. They're the ones refusing it. That's their decision. Send the order. The aide complied. Back at the camp, Colonel Hayes received Patton's instructions, read them over, and gathered his staff. General Patton has given direct orders. No food for the 116th Panzer Unit until they accept American rations. He will be here in 3 days. Lieutenant Parker asked, Sir, what happens if they don't budge? Then General Patton deals with it himself. The first day wasn't too difficult for the Germans. They had gone without meals before. Hunger on the battlefield was familiar territory. A few hours without food meant little. They sat in their barracks, talking amongst themselves, even laughing. A few broke into Wehrmacht marching songs, as if making a statement. The American guards watched without saying a word. By evening, though, some of the younger prisoners were starting to feel real hunger. But the veterans held the group together. The corporal, Ernst Weber by name, addressed them. Remember what we are. We are Wehrmacht soldiers. We do not beg. We do not give in. We hold ourselves to a standard, even here. The men agreed, proud and resolute. The second day was a different story. The mess hall sat adjacent to their barracks, and the smell of food being prepared for other prisoners and American guards drifted constantly. Fresh bread, brewed coffee, cooked meat. Some of the younger Germans positioned themselves near the windows, watching, their stomachs nodding. Weber held them firm. This is a test of character. The Americans expect us to crack. We will show them what German discipline looks like. But by the second night, the jokes had dried up. The singing was gone. The men simply sat in silence, staring, thinking of nothing but food. One young private, Klaus, approached Weber quietly. Corporal, some of us are really struggling. Maybe we could. No. We have taken a stand. We don't walk it back. But Corporal, it's just food. It doesn't mean, it means everything. We are not animals. We are soldiers. Behave accordingly. Klaus returned to his bunk, lay down, and tried to sleep. His stomach ached. The third day was something else entirely. The men woke up lightheaded and physically weak. Some needed help getting to their feet. The smell coming from the mess hall was now almost unbearable. They could hear the other prisoners eating and talking on the other side of the wall. But the 116th Panzer Unit sat in heavy silence, depleted and waiting. That afternoon, a jeep rolled through the camp gate. Patton stepped out. Colonel Hayes was there to greet him. Sir, nothing has changed. They still haven't touched a meal. 3 full days. Yes, sir. What's their condition? Weak and hungry, but still holding out. Patton gave a short nod. Take me to them. Hayes walked him to the barracks and opened the door. 200 German prisoners, sitting on bunks, leaning against walls, gaunt, exhausted, hollow-eyed. When they recognized Patton and the 4 stars on his collar, they slowly pulled themselves upright and stood at attention. Even in that condition, the discipline held. Patton walked into the center of the room and looked them over. I'm told you've been turning down food for 3 days because American rations aren't good enough for you. Corporal Weber stepped forward. General, we are simply upholding our standards as German soldiers. Patton studied him. Standards? You're starving, but you have standards. Yes, sir. Let me tell you something. I've been fighting your army for 3 years. France, North Africa, Sicily, Germany. You know what I figured out along the way? Weber said nothing. You are capable soldiers. Disciplined. Tough. I'll give you that. The Germans were visibly surprised. But you lost. Do you know why? Because discipline without judgment is nothing more than foolishness. And right now, every one of you is being foolish. Weber's jaw tightened. Sir, you are sitting here, weakening by the hour, while edible food, good food, is right there waiting for you, and you're turning it down because your pride won't allow it. That isn't discipline. That's ego. And ego won't keep you alive. Patton turned to address the full room. Here's where things actually stand. The war is finished. You lost it. Your country is in ruins. Your army no longer exists. Most of you probably have no home to return to. But you are alive, and we are offering you food. Food that is better than what most Germans outside this fence are managing to find right now. You let that land. Think about what I just said. I've walked through your cities, Berlin, Frankfurt, Munich, nothing but rubble. Your people are scrounging in the streets, eating whatever they can get their hands on, and you are sitting in a camp with beds, a roof over your heads, and meals being placed in front of you, and you're pushing them away. Out of pride. Another pause. You can hold on to your so-called standards, sit here and keep starving, prove whatever it is you think you're proving, or you can eat, stay alive, go home when this is over, and do something useful. Help your families, help rebuild your country. That choice belongs to you. The room was completely still. Patton looked at Weber. What's your answer, Corporal? Weber stood under the weight of that silence. 3 days of it, and 200 men waiting for a single word. At last, he spoke. If we eat, do you still respect us as soldiers? Patton held his gaze. You've got my respect for standing by your men for 3 days, even when it made no sense. That takes something. But respect doesn't put food in your stomach. Make the wise choice. Weber paused, then gave a slow, deliberate nod. We will eat. Patton turned to Colonel Hayes. Feed them. Same rations as everyone else. Within the hour, the mess hall was packed. 200 Germans were eating American bread, American soup, American coffee. Some of them wept as they ate. Some barely paused between bites. Others ate slowly, as if trying to hold on to every mouthful. Weber sat among his men, eating quietly, saying nothing. Lieutenant Parker stood off to the side watching. He leaned towards Sergeant O'Brien. 3 days of this. All because they thought American food wasn't good enough for them. O'Brien nodded. And one conversation with Patton ended it. He didn't break them, O'Brien said. He gave them a way to let go. The 116th Panzer Unit never refused food again. They ate whatever was served, survived the remainder of their captivity, and most returned home when the war ended. Years later, some of them recounted those 3 days, the hunger, the standoff, the moment Patton walked through the door. Klaus, the young private, said the experience reshaped the way he looked at life. We thought refusing made us strong. Patton helped us see that it only made us hungry. Real strength is knowing when pride has stopped serving you. Patton never wrote about the incident in his diary or discussed it publicly. To him, it was straightforward. Senseless pride gets soldiers killed. Smart soldiers choose to survive. Would you have held out for 3 days, or would you have given in sooner? Tell us in the comments. And if you want more stories about World War II, the moments when pride ran headfirst into reality, make sure you subscribe.